816 transactions, while the top voluntary saver is at 631,491. In the intervening period, the Hustler Fund has also launched a group product which has attracted 50,000 active groups to the platform, and of which 20,000 have received 151 million Kenyan shillings. The Hustler Fund has provided us not only the huge pent-up demand for affordable credit, but also the readiness of Kenyans to express or to embrace credit and savings and to pay their loans on time with minimum prompting. The notion that Kenyans are not credit-worthy or are high-risk borrowers is nothing more than an unjust financial profiling, which has, in many instances, become a needless, self-fulfilling prophecy. Yesterday, when I called Harrison Karisa Kenga, a tuk-tuk operator in Mombasa, who has accessed 714,000 from the Hustler Fund, he suggested to me to find a way to have the fund provide asset financing so that he can buy for himself a tuk-tuk, because the one he had was not his. I assured him that during my address today, I would ask the ministry responsible to respond to him. Consequently, I hereby direct the Ministry of Cooperatives and MSMEs to expeditiously engage Mr. Kenga. I will give you his telephone number. The impact of the Hustler Fund is summarized by a story of a Mr. Sospita Ondiek from Kisii. I suggest that the Kenyan film industry should look for him so that he can tell you his full story. Mr. Ondiek has a plumbing and tiling business in Kisii. And through the Hustler Fund, he has accessed 1.7 million in the many transactions he has undertaken to enhance our savings that have consistently been among the lowest globally, and to correct the delayed transformation of our social security architecture. Fundamental reforms are underway in our savings and social security space. As promised, we committed to take deliberate measures to foster a strong culture of savings amongst Kenyans and enable them mobilize resources for investment and development of intergenerational capital to eliminate old age poverty and to ensure comfort in retirement. Until recently, the rate of Kenya's public pension saving stood at 1.4 billion shillings a month, which is the lowest in our region at only 12.5% of our GDP. As a result of our initial interventions, the savings situation in Kenya is changing for the better. Contributions, honorable members, to the National Security Fund have grown from 1.4 billion shillings in January to 6.5 billion shillings every month, this month. The implication of these growths in our national savings is that it will significantly consolidate our nation's ability to invest in development using domestic resources as opposed to us going to borrow other people's money when they save. Honorable members, majority of Kenyan rural homes, even though income earners. The proliferation of slums in our urban areas indicate the extent of this serious problem and the urgency with which it must be addressed to enable Kenyans have greater choice in leading dignified, safe, and healthy lives affordably. Low supply of affordable housing units in Kenya is acute, making rent a huge component of the cost of living for many households. The increase in affordable housing units is a strategic intervention to not only supply affordable dwellings for Kenyans, but also as a means to reduce the cost of living. 3 categories of houses will be supplied by this program: social housing, affordable housing, and for the rest, market rate housing. Interest on financing is where we intend to make the big difference. Interest at the moment, as all of us know in this house, is at almost 18%. But under this program, all interest should be or will be at single digit. For social housing, the interest will be at 3%. You know, honorable members, that we all get 3%. So even the people in the social space, they also deserve to get 3%. Those in the affordable housing space will get 6%, and 9% for the people in the market category. The affordable housing program has received tremendous support from county governments across Kenya. And I want to thank governors, and I know the chair of the Council of Governors is here, through her, all governors who have worked with us to make sure that this program becomes a reality. The construction of 46,792 units in various parts of Kenya is already underway, while another 40,000 are ready to commence in a couple of weeks. 50,000 Kenyans are working. People who are previously unemployed, they are now engaged directly and indirectly in this enterprise. And the numbers will significantly increase as the projects move into the next phase and as we roll out many more units. A total of 746,795 housing units are in the pipeline as I talk to you under various stages of delivery. More jobs are being created with the formalization of the Jua Kali clusters, providing products like doors, hinges, and windows. And this morning, as I visited one of the sites that I went to launch the construction in March, I was amazed that a site that was flat in March today, and I was with the Member of Parliament for Ruto, today has 8 11-block units, almost at 60% complete. And I also met the Jua Kali cluster for Ruto, and they have been given a contract of 140 million to be able to supply doors and windows. Architects, engineers, quantity surveyors, masons, electricians, plumbers, transporters, steel and cement factory workers, and hardware merchants will be partakers in this transformative plan. I spoke to Moses today at the site in Ruto, an electrician, and he told me out of the 1,700 workers in the site today, he was in charge of 114 electricians who are engaged in that site. And he asked me, Mr. President, make sure the next site is ready for us, because we will finish this ahead of time. Let me also say, we are constructing 400 markets across Kenya to provide Mama Mboga with a dignified working environment, complete with water, electricity, and other amenities. And I want to thank members of this House for participating in various ways and working with us and also with the counties in identifying the right locations for these markets. Ladies and gentlemen, honorable members, our education system must develop a formidable reservoir of skill, talent, highly competitive and innovative human capital to support our vision of an economically transformed Kenya. Within weeks of taking office, I appointed the Presidential Working Party on Education Reform, led by Professor Raphael Munaf, my former teacher, who provided clarity on transition to the new competence-based curriculum and made further recommendations on necessary reforms in our education system from early childhood all the way to the tertiary levels. The Working Party concluded its work and submitted a report whose recommendations are already being implemented. The urgent and vexing question of transition to junior school has been settled, and the Kenya Primary School Education Assessment will be used for the exclusive purpose of monitoring learners' progress and not for placement in any grade. In keeping with our commitment, 56,750 new teachers have been employed. I'm sure the Honorable Milemba can confirm this. While 8,200 primary school teachers were retrained to equip them with capacity to effectively deliver learning and teaching at junior school levels. With changes to the entry requirements for teacher training colleges, admission has increased by 300% to now 20,456 trainees. I was privileged to be in Kwale last week to open the Kwale Teacher Training College, which had only less than 100 students a few months ago. And when I went there, the principal told me that the numbers have increased 4 times. At the tertiary level, the Working Party recommended an overhaul of the existing education funding framework to a valuable scholarship and loan model in order to address the financing gap which denied many Kenyans the opportunity to pursue that tertiary education in our universities and TVETs, but also created many complications in our universities and institutions of higher learning that by last year, our universities had accumulated debts of close to 60 billion Kenya shillings. I sat down with all the vice chancellors of our 41 public universities, and we came up with a proposal that we are now implementing. The new model for financial support is student-centered and deploys a rigorous impartial means testing instrument to establish the level of need of every student, which then becomes the primary consideration in allocating scholarships and loans. To fully democratize our education system and make higher education accessible and affordable to all, we have also chartered the Open University of Kenya, following requisite cabinet and parliamentary approvals. I want to thank this House for expediting the Open University Charter that had been in the works for the last 10 years. I also want to announce to you that the first 1,000 students will report next month. In the course of consulting Kenyans from all walks of life during the formulation of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, the foundational contribution of health to citizen well-being and the role of costs in driving up poverty were identified as chronic. The implications are very clear, and we cannot afford to delay the delivery of universal health care anymore. Consequently, we have instituted radical reforms in the provision of healthcare services in Kenya, including the enactment of 4 new laws that will anchor the implementation of this bottom-up approach to healthcare. I am tremendously grateful to this House and honorable members for enacting the Primary Health Care Act, the new Social Health Insurance Act, the Digital Health Act, and the Facility Improvement Financing Act. These laws, honorable members, will usher in and guarantee a new era in the provision of healthcare, covering all essential services from preventive, promotive, curative, palliative, and rehabilitative services, guaranteeing every Kenyan access to comprehensive and quality healthcare. Under Afya Nyumbani, we have scaled up our investment in healthcare workforce, employing 20,000 new healthcare workers, deploying 8,429 workers whose contracts had lapsed, and enrolling 3,394 interns across the country to increase the availability of human capital in our public health sector. Working with county governments, and I'm again grateful to them, we have taken measures to resolve the perennial challenge of human resource management in the health sector, occasioning strikes, by establishing the Kenya Health Human Resource Advisory Council, which will be a trusted mediator between government at both levels and our health sector workers. Further, under the Afya Nyumbani model, we identified preventive care as an essential pillar of healthcare service delivery because it enables Kenyans to manage their conditions early enough before they cause serious harm in their well-being and productivity. Community health promotion is our bottom-up intervention to deliver preventive and promotive health solutions at the grassroots by deploying community health promoters to visit Kenyans at their homes, provide basic diagnosis for common conditions, and refer cases to appropriate medical facilities. Together with all the 47 counties, and again, I am grateful to the governors, we have deployed 100,000 community health promoters fully equipped with the necessary kits and an electronic community health information system. In the last 1 month, CHPs have attended to 1.2 million households, just in the last 1 month. I spoke on phone to Mr. Masood Dirie, a community health promoter in Garissa, yesterday, who told me he has been a community health promoter, health volunteer since 2011. Unlike before, now he has a full medical kit and has used it to confirm that 7 people in his locality had high blood pressure. In a twist of fate, he tested himself and discovered that he too had high blood pressure. That's what he told me. And so, apart from referring others, he also had to make way to the hospital. Mr. Obembi Ogutu of Homa Bay told me, that's what he told me, the program now makes primary health care a paperless engagement, saying it had started to reduce queues in hospitals. Through the Facility Improvement Financing Act 2023, we have established a framework that confers financial autonomy to health facilities, enabling them to retain funds generated with a mandate to improve facilities, capacity, and to provide healthcare services within that locality. In addition, the Kenya Medical Supplies Agency, as part of many radical reforms,
State of the Nation address.
It is
this State of the Nation address presenting a crucial opportunity for the President to outline his administration's progress, the challenges, as well as future plans in the period characterized by some so to speak, some economic turbulences. and there's heightened public expectations on this third State of the Nation address. It is technically a step-by-step march to the National Assembly's chamber this afternoon, and from your screens you can see the maces of both houses of parliament have made their way into the chamber this afternoon, closely followed by the clerks as well as the president in between the two speakers, that is the Speaker of the National Assembly as well as the Speaker of the Senate. And we expect the president to equally address matters to do with the cost of living. Dear viewers, allow me to hand over back to the proceedings of these live proceedings, streaming to you live from the Parliament of Kenya and brought to you by the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation in conjunction with the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit. My name is Gladys Mungai. Have yourself a great afternoon.
Na tuombe. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, twakusihi ututazame kwa neema nyingi na baraka, sisi watumishi wako ambao umeridhika kutuita kwa nyadhifa za uongozi katika jamhuri hii yetu. Twakuomba utuajalie tuyatende na kufikiria mambo yote yatakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Tuketi. Order, honorable members. Let us all be seated. Thank you. Your Excellency, Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, CGH, President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, the Right Honorable Dr. Moses Wetangula, EGH, MP, Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Members of Parliament, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Article 132, Sub-Article 1B of our Constitution provides that the President shall address a special sitting of Parliament once every year and may address Parliament at any other time. Article 132, Sub-Article 1C of our Constitution further provides that the President shall, among others, once every year, report in an address to the nation all the measures taken and the progress made or achieved in the realization of the national values referred to in Article 10 of the Constitution. In addition, Article 240 sub-Article 7 of the Constitution requires the President in his capacity as the chairperson of the National Security Council to report to Parliament annually on the state of security in Kenya. In this regard, the Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service, via the letter dated reference EOP/CAB.26/4A, Volume 4, into brackets 178, and dated the 9th of September 2024, informed the Speakers of the Houses of Parliament of the intention of His Excellency, the President, to address Parliament. Consequently, and upon consultation, the address to Parliament by His Excellency the President was scheduled for today, Thursday, the 21st of November 2024. Pursuant to Standing Order 25(2) of the Senate Standing Orders, I notified honorable senators of the place, date, and time of today's special sitting via Gazette Notice number 148/29, which was published in the Kenya Gazette on Friday, the 15th of November 2024. Further, together with the Right Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, I notified all members of Parliament and the general public of today's special sitting via notices placed in 3 local newspapers yesterday, Wednesday, the 20th of November 2024. Accordingly, honorable members, this special sitting is properly convened. I thank you.
Your Excellency, Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, CGH, President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, the Right Honorable Amason King, EGH MP, Honorable Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Members of Parliament, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Article 132(1)(b) of the Constitution requires the President to address the nation once every year and at any other time. Further, Article 132(1)(c) of the Constitution requires the President to once every year report in an address to the nation on measures taken and progress achieved in the realization of our national values. Additionally, Article 132(1)(c)(3) of the Constitution provides that the President shall submit a report for debate to the National Assembly on the progress made in fulfilling the international obligations of the Republic. In this regard, honorable members, by way of a message to the House, His Excellency the President conveyed his desire to address a joint sitting of the Houses of Parliament today, 21st November 2024. Therefore, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 22 of the National Assembly Standing Orders, and by Gazette Notice number 15327, which was published in the Kenya Gazette on 18th November 2024, and indeed as also notified to all members and the general public by way of newspaper notification published on 20th November 2024, I gave a notice of this special sitting of Parliament to the members of the National Assembly. Accordingly, honorable members, this special sitting is properly convened. Your Excellency, honorable members, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this year's President's address comes at a time when the country is set to host the 14th edition of the East African Community Interparliamentary Games. The Interparliamentary Games shall bring together participants from the member states of the East African Community and the East African Legislative Assembly, and are part of the deepening, widening, and tightening of the integration process. The Games are scheduled to commence next month on 7th December 2024 in Mombasa County, and all is set in readiness for these Games. Moving on, Your Excellency, it's in the custom of Parliament to recognize invited guests seated in our galleries. I therefore wish to recognize the following guests who are seated in the Speaker's row. Her Excellency Mama Rachel Ruto, First Lady of the Republic of Kenya, and other members of the First Family. His Excellency Honorable Professor Kithure Kindiki, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya and the spouse of the Deputy President, Her Excellency Dr. Joyce Kithure. Honorable Musalia Mudavadi EGH, the Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Diaspora Affairs. Your Excellency, honorable members, also present in the Speaker's row this afternoon are the Honorable Lady Justice Philomena Mbete Mwilu, MGH, Deputy Chief Justice and Vice President of the Supreme Court. She's accompanied by Honorable Justice Mohammed K. Ibrahim and Justice William Ouko, judges of the Supreme Court of Kenya. Also accompanying the Deputy Chief Justice are Honorable Justice Oscar Angote, presiding judge of the Environment and Land Court, Honorable Lady Justice Jemima Wanza Kelly, judge of the Employment and Labor Relations Court. We are also honored to have in our midst the immediate former speakers of the Houses of Parliament, the Honorable Justin Bedan Njoka Muturi, EGH, Cabinet Secretary for Public Service and Human Capital Development, the Honorable Kenneth Marende, EGH, the Honorable Kenneth Makelo Lusaka, EGH, the current Governor of Bungoma County, Honorable Ekwe Ethro, and additionally, we also are pleased to be hosting a delegation visiting our parliament from the Republic of the Gambia. Your Excellency, allow me to also recognize the chairperson of the Council of Governors, who is also the Governor of Wajir County, the Honorable Ahmed Abdullahi, and the Honorable Johnson Sakaja, Governor of the City of Nairobi County. May I also accord special recognition to all Cabinet Secretaries present and particularly acknowledge 4 of them who are former ranking members of the Houses of Parliament, namely Aden Duale, EGH, former leader of the majority party in the National Assembly, Honorable Onesimus Murkomen, EGH, former Senate Majority Leader, Honorable John Badi, EGH, Honorable Opio Wandai, EGH, both former leaders of the minority in the National Assembly. I need not mention that His Excellency the Deputy President is a former leader of majority in the Senate. I also acknowledge the presence of Mr. Felix Kosgei, Chief of Staff and Head of the Public Service, Principal Secretaries, members of the Diplomatic Corps, and heads of constitutional commissions and independent offices and state corporations present. They are all welcome to the House of Parliament. Your Excellency, I wish to make a special welcome to Parliament and mention the Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces, General Daniel Kahariri, who is present, and the respective service commanders, the Inspector General of Police, and other leaders of our disciplined forces who are seated at the Speaker's row. Parliament is grateful for your distinguished service to our great nation. To all invited guests, we say karibuni sana kwa bunge letu. Your Excellency, honorable members, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my singular honor and privilege to invite His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces to address this special sitting of Parliament. Welcome, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The Honorable Speakers of Parliament, the Honorable Members, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to address you today in the fulfillment of the mandate vested in me under Article 1321C of the Constitution to report to you and to the people of Kenya on the measures we have taken and the progress we have made in realizing our national values and principles of governance, and to submit to you, honorable members, the progress made in fulfilling